Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the wall. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my AKHis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision episode 64. Subscribe below. If you're trying to get smarter by the minute, if you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these decafs, the dumb, casual-ass fans that don't know shit about boxing, including old media, including the decafs wizard themselves that pretty much manipulate casual fans into becoming decafs. However, if you want to have if you want to become a hardcore boxing fan, all you got to do is subscribe and click on the notification bell. Also, shout out to my broski, my AKHi Dante, the entrepreneur of new media that I'm a part of. And shout out to everybody in the chat from OG Swag, JJ Lease, Jones, and everybody in the house up this late. This is the late night edition. So we're going to go ahead and talk about everything. So let's get the party started.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Starting off with round one, there's been a lot said since the Lomachenko loss. Old media been devastated, especially the decaf wizards themselves. However, fighters like Errol Spence, for example, you see why he tweeted, "Thank you, T.O.," because old media was just doing too much. So Mikey Garcia came out and he stated that he picked T.O. to win the fight because Lomachenko was fighting weak opposition. His competition was very weak. In other words, he was cherry picking smaller guys, so on and so forth, his whole career. And I've been telling you guys this from the jump that Mikey Garcia was pretty much, Lomachenko was fighting Mikey Garcia leftovers from the jump. He fought Salido right after Mikey Garcia washed Salido. Remember at the time, people were saying, oh man, Salido's going to kill Mikey Garcia. That was Mikey Garcia's step-up fight. And I was telling people, that's what they told Muhammad Ali when he first stepped up. At the end of the day, skills pay the bills. It ain't about experience. It ain't about this, that, and the third. Is about skills, right? So Mikey Garcia knocked down Salido multiple times in the fight, I believe 4 times, and the fight got stopped due to a headbutt. Now, after that fight in particular, right, I believe a year later or 2 years later, Salido was supposed to be washed, and Lomachenko, he fought Salido for his strap, ended up losing that fight in the process, right? Then a year later, obviously, Mikey Garcia already knocked out Martinez years ago. Lomachenko moved up in weight in order to fight Martinez, who just robbed Salido in a rematch, right? And instead of pretty much letting them fight each other again in the trilogy to see who's clearly who's the winner, because obviously it was controversial, Lomachenko capitalized on the moment, fighting Martinez right away. Again, another fighter that Mikey Garcia already fought and washed. Pretty much he was fighting Mikey Garcia leftovers. That's why I've been telling you guys that from the jump. Instead of fighting Salido, he fought Martinez, even though Martinez clearly robbed Salido in that fight during their rematch. And when Salido was presented a rematch, it was Lomachenko who turned down the fight, claiming he was past Salido. When he wanted to avenge his loss in the amateurs, at the time he lost one fight in the amateurs. I believe he avenged it up to 4 times. But when it came to Salido, a guy who beat him in the pros, which count more, the amateurs are pretty much what gets you prepared for the pros. So it was crazy to me that, you know, Lomachenko didn't want to avenge his loss in the pros. However, he wanted to avenge his loss in the amateurs. Now, mind you, like, for example, basketball, football, when in the United States, there's football games, that college football games, and then the NFL. Basketball is the same way. There's basketball college games, and there's also the NBA. Basically, the amateurs are the college games. The pro is the NBA, the NFL. So Lomachenko didn't want to avenge his loss in the pros, but he avenged his loss in the amateurs. So you could clearly see where he was coming from, right? Now, that's why Mikey Garcia is coming out now, pointing out that, hey, man, I saw that from the jump. Remember, I told you guys, Lomachenko also avoided Mikey Garcia back at 135. Right after Mikey Garcia beat Adrian Broner, he pulled up on, I believe, Lomachenko. I don't know where he pulled up on him. I think Lomachenko was preparing for a fight, or he was doing, he had something going on, and Mikey Garcia pulled up on him. And it was crazy to see that Lomachenko pretty much was like, he was criticizing Mikey Garcia of his performance against Broner, telling him, you wasn't doing this, you wasn't doing that, you was telegraphing your punches. But Mikey Garcia pulled up on Lomachenko to challenge him. But Lomachenko turned down the fight, claiming that he just had a surgery and he won't fight Mikey Garcia after a surgery. Because of that, he said, listen, I want a tune-up fight. After the tune-up fight, then I'm going to fight you. Mikey Garcia, he stated, I'm not going to wait for nobody. I can't accept empty promises if there's no contract guaranteeing me the fight later down the line. And he moved up to fight Errol Spence. So just to point out, Lomachenko did avoid a Mikey Garcia fight for good reasons. He also avoided a Manny Pacquiao fight, who challenged him at 135, which that was his Oscar De La Hoya ticket. I mean, Manny Pacquiao got popular because he beat Oscar De La Hoya, or he became a superstar. Same to Floyd Mayweather. And Lomachenko turned that down, claiming Pacquiao old, but that clearly got debunked because Pacquiao, he beat Broner and Keith Thurman right after that. So that's just to point out what Mikey Garcia is talking about when he says, you know, Lomachenko was pretty much cherry picking. You guys got to remember, he fought Regan Diaz. Yeah, Regan Diaz was a good fighter, but he didn't want to fight Regan Diaz at 126. He fought him at 130. He dragged him all the way to 130 when he's too small for 122. Regan Diaz today, he fights at 118 pounds. So this guy, Regan Diaz, he was inactive for like years. He moved up 2 weight divisions to fight Lomachenko at 130. And now he moved up all the way to 118. That's just to point out how small Regan Diaz is. Yeah, he got the goods, but he was just clearly too small. I mean, for example, Mikey Garcia moved up to 147. Mikey Garcia started his career at 126. Now Mikey Garcia, he claiming that he can no longer make 135 because he made that jump to 147. Just to show you how big Mikey Garcia is. So peep this. Mikey Garcia moves up to 147, but he can't move back to 135 when he started his career at 126. Meanwhile, Regan Diaz moved up to 130 and moved down not just to 122, all the way to 118, challenging Inoue. Just to point out how small Regan Diaz was. So like I said, Lomachenko didn't want to fight Rigondeaux at 126. He delayed the fight he moved up to 130. Then he accepted the fight at 130. So it's clear as day, you know, Lomachenko been pretty much been selective and maneuvering. And even the Walters fight was a good win, but he caught Walters after, you know, pretty much a good layoff, and he made him move up to 130 to fight him. At division, he never fought at, you know, at the time. So I mean, it ain't no shocker, like I said, you know, even though he fought some good names, I think Gary Russell was his best win. But leading up to the Teofimo fight, a lot of people were saying that's his best opponent. You know, now can you picture when Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez for people to point out and say, Floyd Mayweather, that's your best opponent yet? Like Floyd Mayweather never fought the Corrales, the Castillos, the Ricky Hattons of the world, the Sugar Shane Mosleys, the Cottos, and we already know how deep Floyd Mayweather resume is. You know what I'm saying? So imagine them telling Floyd, that's your best opponent yet. You know, and pretty much they were telling Lomachenko, Tio, his best opponent yet. And they were making up excuses for him, trying to make it seem like Lomachenko is too small for 135 or too old. Like I pointed out time and time again, he won a gold medal at 132. He can't be that small. That's only 2 pounds south of 135. He's 32 years old. That's the peak of your prime. Lomachenko lost in the peak of his prime. Now, moving on to the round right after that. Just a reminder, you guys could go ahead and call in and hold position. The number is in the description box. If it ain't, please let me know, but it should be in the description box. I'll be sure I left it today. So we're going to talk about it, though. So much to talk about, from what old media had to say to the freshest excuse out of the oven by Lomachenko. Now, Khabib obviously retired 29-0 in his prime, which a lot of people are reminiscent to when Floyd Mayweather did the same in his prime, and also as Money May, because he wanted that big payday in order to complete 50-0. He was 49-0, and in order to be 50-0, he was only going to do it versus a special person for a lot of money. Now, speculation came out that, you know, it's Khabib doing the same thing. Now, I could go ahead and tell you that's really not the case. You know, Khabib, one thing for sure about him, he's an honest man, and he's a huge role model. His mother told him she don't want Khabib to step in the octagon without his father, and he respected that. He promised her that this was his last fight, and he went through a whole lot, which we're going to talk about. But because of that, he decided to retire, which was very emotional. And, you know, he's obviously a legend. He definitely will be missed. He could do one more fight against St. Pierre and be 30-0. He could do one more fight against Conor and be 30-0. And that'd be legacy right there. And there will be a lot of money on the table, but there's no telling. He obviously made this decision because of what he was dealing with during the moment, which was his father passing away. May he rest in peace, inshallah. So because of that, he made this decision. But at the end of the day, he will retire a legend, you know, and he definitely going to be missed because he gave me some unforgivable memories, especially the Conor fight, man. Man, that was a hell of a night. That was a hell of a build-up. Like I said, Conor, you know, Dana White said that was the most evil press conference he ever been a part of. And I could say the same thing. That's the most evil press conference I ever witnessed. You know, just Conor was going too crazy. But it did made for a hell of a night, especially after the fight was just as crazy as the buildup, you know. And for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, Jon Jones did come out and say that Khabib can have the GOAT status, the greatest of all time status in the UFC for now, until I move up to heavyweight and prove otherwise. This is what he had to say. Now, just to point out, Jon Jones actually was going for Justin. He picked Justin. He said, I'm going with Justin for this one by KO. Now, during the fight, Khabib just proved why he is the champion. So obviously he proved them wrong. So just to point out, Jon Jones was highly impressed by Khabib's performance, the way he dominated Justin. He stated there's levels to this, and the referee, he let Justin down. Now, he did state, and I quote, "Until I take that heavyweight crown, I grant you the spot. Enjoy, champ." Then later on, when Khabib, he was demanding respect. He was demanding the UFC to put respect on his name. Jon Jones did tweet, 15 world titles, numbers don't lie. I want to congratulate Khabib for an outstanding career. I know he made his father, along with millions of his fans around the world, incredibly proud today. May God continue to bless him on his journey. Definitely a powerful moment, but my logic is definitely not clouded. So, you know, Jon Jones basically, he paid homage to Khabib, but when it comes to this GOAT status, especially, you know, in any combat sport, even in boxing, this involves any combat sport. I think this is fair to say when it comes to all of that. When it comes to Khabib, there's a great argument he could go down as one of the greatest of all time because of his dominance in the ring, his undefeated record. But that undefeated record is even more impressive when you look at how dominant he was. I mean, that's why I say he the Floyd Mayweather of the UFC, fame-wise, money-wise, and just how he pretty much dominated his opponents in the octagon. You know, it's like he always put it together like puzzle, but there's no blueprint to Khabib. You think like, okay, I know what he's doing. I know what he's going to do. It's like that Mike Tyson. You know Mike Tyson is going to come forward and pressure you, you know. But when it does happen, it is easier said than done. From the outside, it looks simple, but from the inside, it's very hard to handle. Now, we already know Mike Tyson pretty much beat himself, but Floyd Mayweather, for example, he always made it look easy. Floyd Mayweather, his strongest weapon was obviously how gifted he was, his dedication level, but more importantly, how smart he was in the ring. I think he don't get enough credit for that because he always made the right adjustments in a round or two. It didn't take more than a round or two for Floyd to figure you out, you know. And now when it comes to Khabib, his strength is just different, and the way he just when he put Cass on the ground, it's over. I mean, everybody talked about Justin being Khabib kryptonite because he could wrestle, and also he a great striker. He has a lot of power. He's very precise. He could kick, and he could also wrestle. So even if Khabib put him on the ground, it ain't case closed, you know. So he was pretty much Khabib kryptonite. But Khabib proved the whole world wrong, making it look easy, dominating Justin in the process. So it ain't just Justin, is also Conor McGregor. I mean, regardless of what people say about Conor, he's a tremendous athlete. The way he knocked out Jose, the way he pretty much was dominating on the come up. Obviously, he came to boxing and he got knocked out all the way back to the UFC, but still, that's not his sport. But standing up in the UFC, he was the man. And Khabib, he smashed him. I mean, talk about a dominant performance. He always smashed anybody that stepped in the octagon with him. So, like I said, you know, it's one thing, you know, to talk about, you know, greatness. There's a lot of great fighters in the UFC, from Silver to Jon Jones to Khabib, and so many more fighters. But it's fair to say that when it comes to that number one status, being the GOAT, as much as I love Jon Jones, because I truly believe Jon Jones was the GOAT, but he no longer the GOAT because of the obvious reason: if you get busted for taking steroids on more than one occasion, you disqualify yourself from the GOAT status. Muhammad Ali wouldn't be the GOAT if he took steroids in the past. Floyd Mayweather wouldn't be the GOAT or considered TBE if he took steroids. You cannot take shortcut to success or something that's going to boost your athletic ability or your physical ability in order to get to the goal and still be on that realm of greatness, considered to be the greatest of your sport. That's just taking steroids and being the GOAT don't go together. And the fact that Jon Jones, like I said before, he got busted 3 times doing the wrong thing. Now, the last time they did say it was a grand assault, it was equivalent to that, so on and so forth, but it don't matter because he already got busted for it in the past on more than one occasion. And how did it get there the 3rd time to begin with? Science don't lie at the end of the day. People lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And science is not going to lie when it comes to Jon Jones failing the test. So he had to do something, but obviously nobody's going to admit they cheated. You're going to pretty much cover up your lie. You could ask Tyson Fury that. So, that's the only black eye when it comes to Jon Jones. He got the best resume. He got the best names under his banner. He was dominant for a whole lot of years. It's been a lot of close fights that Jon Jones had in which it could have went both ways. For Khabib, that's not the case, but Jon Jones did fight more names. But like I pointed out before, you disqualify yourself from being an all-time great when you actually take steroids. Now, and it's also a bad look because Israel, he pretty much called him out for this and exposed him for hiding under the cage when USADA pulled up in order to test him. Now, you could say you high, you this, you that, but at the end of the day, we know what the truth is because that's around the time he actually failed for a drug test. And also, you're better off testing positive for being high than hiding from USADA, because then it's like, hold on, what are you hiding for? And, at the end of the day, even if you smoke a week later, a month later, you're not going to be able to pass the test unless you drink some of that stuff that actually cleans you out. But my point is, it's just not a good look on, Jon Jones' behalf. Is he a great fighter? Absolutely. But for the moment, he's just not. He got to do more to prove that he has the goods without taking steroids. He does got skills, but he had to take enhancement drugs in order to get to where he's at. So like I said, if it's okay to take supplements, then every fighter will be doing it, and we'd be looking at a different landscape in any sport, So, but like I said, when it comes to Khabib, I truly believe his toughest opponent to this day is that bear that he was wrestling when he was still a baby. That's his toughest opponent because, like I said, Justin was supposed to be his kryptonite, and he was walking through Justin punches. And even the kicks, I was getting worried because of the kicks. And the special thing about Khabib, he takes his opponent advantages and uses it as their disadvantages because he caught the kick in order to get to Justin and drop him. And like I said, in the first round, he pretty much nearly put him in an arm lock. And then in the second round, he put him in a triangle choke in no time. So I was really highly impressed by Khabib. I can't explain what he does. He got that shit you can't teach because even a black belt can't tell you what Khabib did. Even a black belt can't tell you how Khabib goes from, this position to that position. It's like he got that shit you can't teach. You could tell, you could tell a trainer, what is Muhammad Ali doing? Like what is he doing with his chin up in the air, dodging all top of jabs? How you do that? I thought you need to keep your hands up. The trainer gonna answer, he gonna simply answer the fighter who's asking. Ali got that shit you can't teach, and Khabib got that shit you can't teach when it comes to his wrestling skills and his strength in general. So, like I said, he got a good case to actually go down as one of the GOATs. Silver is on the conversation. Jon Jones is also in the conversation, but he got to move up to heavyweight. And if he's able to dominate heavyweight, win the championship there, being clean the whole time, that will actually be a good look on his behalf. Like, hey, listen, see, I was able to make history at heavyweight without taking anything. That just was a mistake. So we'll see, Like I said, I truly believe if you take any supplements, you are disqualified from the conversation. Go go ahead and pick up calls right after this round. Khabib, it was revealed that he was injured 3 weeks before the fight. He had a foot injury. He also broke 2 of his toes. That was confirmed by Dana White. But the special thing about Khabib, like I said, throughout injuries, throughout anything, he finds a way to win, not to make excuses. And we all know who finds a way to make excuses, AKA Lomachenko. Because while Khabib is finding a way to win with a broken foot, in which he injured three weeks before the fight, or three weeks before the fight, during the fight, he's getting kicked on that foot, however, or on that leg. However, like I said, he found a way to win. Meanwhile, we have Lomachenko in the sport of boxing. He stated before the fight, this is the best camp. I'm 100%. I never had a fight where I could display all my skills because I'm always injured. So, you know, being healthy is a great thing, and I'm 100% healthy. So it's going to be my best performance. This was a couple weeks before the fight, right? Then after the fight, after he put on a stinker, throwing and landing, or I should say landing 7 power punches in 6 rounds, he obviously bring up the injury excuse. When fighters fight through injuries all of the times, including Teo. So, like I said, Khabib, he was getting kicked on the leg. The same leg he had a foot injury. However, he used his disadvantages as his advantages by catching the kick in order to put Justin down, putting him in a triangle choke in no time, effortlessly. Skills pay the bills at the end of the day. Meanwhile, Lomachenko's supposed to be the Matrix. He claims he broke his shoulder when his right hand was the only hand he was throwing the whole night. If he would have said his left hand was injured, that would have made more sense. Like, okay, because, you know, he really wasn't using the left hand all night, or especially the first 8 rounds, you know. But to say your right hand is injured, the hand that you actually using, it don't make no sense. Because when Floyd Mayweather broke his hand, remember that? Floyd Mayweather broke his right hand. What he did, he had to switch southpaw, and he started using his left hand all night. Meanwhile, Lomachenko, he want to claim he hurt his right hand, but that's the hand he using. And Lomachenko broke his hands in the past. He broke his hand in the past, and he still found a way to win. Matter of fact, he even started taking more angles after he broke his hand, because he had to rely on other attributes. He had to use other tools to pull off the win. But when it came to Teo, like I said, how are you going to injure yourself without throwing punches? The fight was not physical, where they were wrestling back and forth for Lomachenko to injure himself in the fight, you know? So, like I said, you know, Khabib, while he's injured, he finding a way to win, you know, and you got Lomachenko, he posted a picture of his surgery. But like I said, excuses. Who gets out of a fight healthy? Who? Nobody gets out of a fight healthy. It's called a fight. You're not supposed to get out of a fight healthy. You know what I'm saying? I don't even get out of a soccer game healthy. You get out with a couple kicks, bruises, so on and so forth. Teo even said he wasn't 100% coming into the fight, and he wasn't 100% going out of the fight. You know, fighters fight through injuries all of the times. So, like I said before, you know, Lomachenko, he left DNA evidence at the scene of the crime. So whatever he says is debunked by his own statements leading up to the fight, because he said he was 100% healthy. You know what I'm saying? If we believe Lomachenko now, then that means he lied in the past. If we believe Lomachenko in the past, 2 weeks before the fight, that means he lied now. So which one is it? You know what I mean? So, like I said, that's just the hottest excuse out of the oven right now, in order to pretty much justify the loss. But like Tio said, fighters fight through injuries all of the time, and I already pretty much broke it down when it came to Lomachenko, and I pointed out on more than one occasion that during the fight, it ain't like he was doing well for 7 rounds, and then after the 7th round, he hurt himself, and then he stopped throwing punches. Then you could be like, okay, something had to happen there in order for Lomachenko punch output to go down. But that was clearly not the case, because he didn't throw no punches for the first 7 rounds. Then he picked up the pace. So what happened to your injury? All of a sudden, it healed. Did somebody give him a sensu bean? Where's Goku at? You can't take a sensu bean during a fight and restore your health and restore your shoulder. What happened? What happened there? You know, so we already know it's nothing but a bunch of excuses. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the calls real quick. Hello? Hello?
RT, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Greg?
Not too much, you.
I'm doing great,
I wanted
man.
to talk about Khabib today, because I think we just witnessed UFC history by everything this man accomplished. You know,
Yeah.
and I think honestly he is the greatest of all time, and even surpasses John Jones just because of John Jones's drug use, to be honest with you.
Right. And that's what I was saying too, because, you know, I mean,
And
yeah, you could keep
go
going.
ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, like I said before, you know, it's unheard of to be undefeated in the UFC, and not just be undefeated, but also dominant on top of that. I mean, he set the pedestal so high, it's gonna take another eagle to be able to fly that high, without taking any supplements, because, like I said, that's a cheat code to success. And that's why drugs are abandoned, because especially in combat sport where you could physically kill your opponent, if you take steroids, you automatically disqualified from that GOAT status. That's just my humble opinion.
Well, exactly. And I got to say, though, I'm very, I used to be a Conor fan up until he did that bullshit with the bus and totally disrespected Khabib and his religion. And that was the first time I ever cheered against him. Right. And I don't know if you saw this, but the guy that Khabib attacked after he defeated Conor, his name's like Dylan something. I don't know. He's very irrelevant. He's on Bellator, and at the end of the day, he ain't shit. But this man had the nerve to tweet after, and he deleted the tweet because he got so much backlash from it. And even Conor made a respectful tweet, and it shows Conor's maturity over time. But at the end of the day, that man was dead wrong for tweeting, oh, the only reason Khabib's retiring is because he's scared of Conor. I mean, if you watch the Conor fight, Khabib dominated the whole fight. Joe Rogan tried to say he won the second round, but I don't think he won any round.
Yeah.
And he made Conor tap out, and he also showed that Conor was no competition for him.
He beat Conor. He beat Conor on the feet and on the ground. He dropped Conor in the second round with a punch, and he slapped him in the third round. He was pretty much toying with him standing up, and on the ground it was pretty much a beatdown. He was smashing him. I mean, and I think look, in the second round, Khabib had a position where he could have choked out Conor, but he didn't want to do that. He wanted to beat up on him longer. So and like I said, that fight was just crazy to lead up, and that's a legacy he leaving behind. Like I said, it's one thing to have to be undefeated, but it's one thing to make statements and have dramatic career where you had your peak, you had your up and down.
He's the Floyd Mayweather of UFC.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he a perfect role model. Like I said, I mean, I'm a religious person. And talk about being religious. He tops me any day of the week. You know what I mean? Like, he's super religious, but on top of that, he's super respectful. Man, like I said, I look up to a guy like him. And I know how devastating it is to lose your father and a guy that pretty much made him who he is today. Khabib, like he stated, he wouldn't be the person he is today if it ain't for his father. So it's very devastating for him. I was surprised he fought Justin. I thought he was going to there and then. But to show his yeah.
No, that's why I 100% agree with what you're saying. And I think that he's so much more than a fighter. And I love the way he doesn't care about making money. Like, he could get a huge check and fight Conor again. But he said, you know what? After all the nonsense that he did to me and he got me out of character, he goes, I don't want to fight him. I don't want to coach. They wanted him to coach the new UFC show with Conor, against Conor. He said, fuck no. He goes, I'm not giving him any more attention than he already has. He goes, I know I'm a better fighter than him, and there's no amount of money that would make me do this. He goes, you could offer me $1 billion. I would tell you, fuck you.
Yeah, you can't buy.
Think
you can't buy
that's
Khabib.
So important, just in a person, to be able to turn down money because you value your own principles. And like you said with his father was more, it's not like, he had a rocky relationship with his father. His father was his best friend. He lived with his mother and father. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And his father was his inspiration. So, and let's be real, he accomplished everything you can accomplish in UFC. And if he were to fight George St. Pierre, George St. Pierre would get his ass kicked. It wouldn't even be, and I like George St. Pierre, but at the end of the day, you cannot beat Khabib's grappling. His grappling is out of this world, and he's the real deal. Like, there's no nonsense with Khabib. It's principle and family above everything. And he doesn't care about money. He never fought because he needed money. He fought because he loved it.
Yeah,
and I think we need more people like him.
Right.
And business to mentor people and show people what the true meaning of the love of the sport is, and that money isn't everything.
Man, I couldn't have said it better than that, because it's crazy, like leading up to the Justin fight. And, remember, Justin was supposedly his kryptonite, when it comes to his style. And he was on First Take. They kept pressing his button about this kind of rematch because, like you pointed out, there's a lot of money on the table for the rematch. And he was like, I don't want to talk about this shit. I started cracking up when I heard that, because I was like, man, he pointed out the obvious. Listen, Dustin and Conor, they fighting each other, but I already beat them both. I already watched them both, So what's the point? You know what I mean? So like I said, it's principle over everything when it comes to Khabib, and it's all respect at the end of the day. So yeah, he definitely got the GOAT status from me because of his dominance. There's no reason for him to stay at 155 anyways right now, because there's nobody for him to challenge.
He beat everyone.
Yeah, he beat everybody. He cleaned out the division. Tony would have been a good fight, but after what Justin did to him, I don't really want to see that right now, because, like I said, Justin washed Tony. Washed him, Yeah. And Justin was supposed to be Khabib kryptonite, and he's supposed to know how to wrestle too. But as soon as Khabib got him on the ground, it was over. Like I said, even a black belt can't tell you what Khabib is doing on the ground. It's just, he got that shit you can't teach. He just does things that is unteachable. You got to have that it factor, and he definitely have that. So he's a beautiful person in and out of the ring, and he got my full respect.
Yeah, and I want to say too, like, I appreciate Justin, because Justin, especially after the fight, when he saw how much pain and agony Khabib was in just being in the ring without his father, and even though he got his ass beat by him, what did he do? He went right up to him and condoled him,
Right. And respect to Justin, before the fight, remember, he threw the belt. He threw the interim belt or whatever that belt is, because obviously Tony was the champion as well before Khabib came on the table. And excuse me, Justin threw the belt because he was like, I want the real belt. And in the sport of boxing, we have fighters requesting French fries belt. We have, you know, companies promoting fake belts as the real belts. And we just have everybody rocking a belt like they're a champion. We have nearly 10 belts per division, and we have 13 divisions. So in total, we have 130 champions in a sport. You know, so it's so crazy to say the least. So to see Justin behaving like a champion is everything to me, before and after the fight.
Absolutely. And, you know, the thing is, even though boxing's been around way longer than most sports, but way longer than MMA, but right now boxing could learn a lot from MMA. And Floyd said it on Fight Hype, and it was 100% on point. There are way too many champions, and unless you're a hardcore fan like me and you and everyone subscribed, well, not everyone, but you know, most of the people, it's so easy to get confused, because I was telling this guy at work today, like, you know, when he tried to tell me Teofimo Lopez won every belt, I said, no, he didn't. I said, he doesn't have the real WBC belt. But to somebody who doesn't watch the sport religiously, how would they know? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the thing is, I know the guy, like, you know what I'm saying, he follows it enough, but
Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I think I just my call dropped. Oh, man called me. I'm gonna call you guys back. I'm gonna call you guys back. Yeah, it's just everybody hold your position, because you know, by my call dropped, but I could still connect to to the press conference. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you have any question, all you gotta do is just throw a super chat, and we definitely answer the call. Yeah, Craig, whenever you back, you know, just let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about another topic, and then I'll pick up calls. OG, shout out to OG. Make sure, you know, everybody in the chat is keeping a respect for my brother. Appreciate the love and support every time. Well, let me go ahead. Just think Craig is back. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think my phone. I don't know what happened. It's just disconnected. But yeah, you could go ahead and finish what you were saying.
Yeah, no, I'm basically done. Just there's too many belts, and they should learn from MMA and Floyd Mayweather to take down some of these belts.
Yes, sir. So yeah, hopefully that's the case, and I appreciate you. Always appreciate your knowledge calling in, my brother, and talk to you again.
Yep. No, I appreciate you, and like I said, I think this weekend, should have taught us a lot about what really is important, and you know what I'm saying, how important family is.
Yep, money is not everything. Money is not everything.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Lexi.
I appreciate it, Aki. Money is not everything. I mean, health is your wealth at the end of the day. Even Money May told you guys that, but so Teddy Atlas, he came out and he stated that Lomachenko is still better fighter than Teofimo Lopez, and he had him higher on his pound for pound list. I mean, who man is this? I'll tell you that one. I'll tell you one thing. Let me just give you guys his pound for pound list, because this is like the funniest thing I heard all day. Now, he had obviously Crawford, pound for pound number 1. He had Canelo, pound for pound number 2. Inoue, pound for pound number 3. I mean, who have Inoue beat? Don't get me wrong, Inoue is my favorite fighter. I mean, I don't say he's my favorite fighter in boxing right now, but he's one of my favorite fighters because I love his style. Stylistically, I mean, the way he fights, it's like he's very entertaining in my books, and he's very technical as well. He got speed, power, and all of that. He got charisma, so on and so forth. But he fought a washed up version of Donaire, and that version of Donaire gave him hell. I'm talking about a Donaire that's supposed to be washed, as far as I know, and he's third on the pound for pound list. But anyways, I don't even know why I'm talking about it. Like, I'm surprised when it's Teddy Atlas list. But Crawford, Canelo, Inoue, and he had Lomachenko number 4. Now he have Errol Spence number 5. So Errol Spence, who's still undefeated, Errol Spence, who's the man right now. Errol Spence was number 5 4 years ago. Teddy Atlas had Errol Spence number 5 on his pound for pound list 5 years ago when Andre Ward was still fighting. Teddy Atlas had Errol Spence number 5 when Andre Ward's still fighting. Remember that. So help me figure this out. Since then, Lomachenko just lost in a stinker performance where he threw and landed 7 punches in the first 6 rounds. In the meantime, Errol Spence been winning. He fought Kell Brook since then. He fought Mikey Garcia since then. He fought Sean Porter since then, and he about to fight Danny Garcia. All of these wins and fights were in spectacular fashion. Errol Spence fought on pay-per-view twice. He about to fight on pay-per-view the 3rd time. But Teddy Atlas have Loma over Errol Spence. Errol Spence haven't moved from his position since 4 years ago. 4 years ago when Errol Spence haven't even fought Kell Brook yet. So that logically don't make sense that Teddy Atlas had Errol Spence as number 5 on his pound for pound list 4 years ago before he even fought a Kell Brook. But he fought and beat a Kell Brook. He knocked out Kell Brook. The guy arguably was the best in his division at the time. He fought Mikey Garcia, dominated Mikey Garcia, the same Mikey Garcia that Lomachenko avoided. He fought Sean Porter, one of the best welterweights, arguably has the best resume in boxing, beat him at his own game in a classic fight, 8 rounds to 4, dropping him in the process, and now he fighting Danny Garcia. All of them accomplishments since then, Teddy Atlas tells you that none of them wins qualify him or puts him higher on his pound for pound list, which is ridiculous to say the least. He got Usyk number 6, Pacquiao number 7. He got Teo Lopez, who just beat the crap out of Lomachenko, as number 8. Beterbiev number 9. Fury, Glovegate, Tyson number 10. I mean, like I said before, Teddy Atlas just makes no sense, so on and so forth, because Lomachenko, he need to be at least number 10 or out of the pound for pound list in general after the stinker he put against Teo. Because remember this, Teddy Atlas is trying to tell us that you can lose and it's still okay. You know, you could still lose and it's okay. You're still better than the guy you lost to. That logically don't make no sense. For example, in the NBA, I could be a fan of the Golden State. I could be a fan of Golden State all day long, but I'm gonna have to admit that this year, the Lakers, LeBron James took the throne, right? I have to admit that because this year was their year. So, like I said before, Teddy Atlas just, he makes no sense because claiming that Lomachenko is still better than Teo after Teo dominated him makes literally no sense, because you can't say he's better and higher on the pound for pound list when one canceled the other out. That's equivalent to saying left is right. Left is not right, because if you driving and I'm telling you the directions and you asking me, should I go left or right? I only got one option or the other. I tell you left is right. It don't matter. We're going to get to our destination. It's like, what? Left is not right, because it's either one or the other. Winning is not losing. You can't lose and still be considered the best. You have to win in order to be the best, to be considered the best. Muhammad Ali wouldn't be the fighter he is today if he didn't fight Frazier on more than one occasion and won the trilogy. Muhammad Ali wouldn't be the same fighter today. No, Muhammad Ali wouldn't be the greatest of all time. He would not be known as the greatest of all time if Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman and lost to George Foreman. Winning is not losing. That makes no logical sense. For Lomachenko to lose and still be higher on the pound for pound list than the guy that beat him, Teofimo Lopez. That logically makes no sense. Like I said, one cancel out the other. You cannot lose and still be higher on the pound for pound list than Teo, the guy who beat Lomachenko. So, like I said, I think Teddy Atlas he's really getting old, and he letting his emotion take over his vision, and he now seeing like Stevie Wonder. He said Lomachenko is the best in the game. He over Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford at the time. He said that because according to the eye test, well, like I said, his emotion is blocking his vision from seeing the truth, and him and Stevie Wonder are on the same boat, because he sees just as clear as Stevie Wonder. With his pound for pound list today, further confirms that he the Stevie Wonder in the sport of boxing with the way he views the sport. Like I said, for Loma to still be a better fighter than Teo and higher on the pound for pound list logically makes no sense when Teo beat him with ease at a disadvantage, when Teo was the younger cat, when Teo had one title defense. He had no experience at that level. That was his first title defense against Lomachenko. On the other hand, Lomachenko, he fought in the amateurs at 132 pounds, and he won a gold medal there. That was 2 pounds. That's 2 pounds south of 135. Lomachenko is in the peak of his prime, the best of his self at the moment, because Lomachenko is only 32 years old, and he lost with ease against Teo. And like I said, you can't make excuses as far as injuries, so on and so forth, because that been debunked by Lomachenko himself. He admitted that it was Teo's strength and his reach and height that gave him problems. Now, they obviously came out with other excuses afterwards, such as his injury, but the DNA evidence before the fight of him admitting that he was 100% and that was his best camp, he's 100% healthy, and he's about to have his best performance, that debunks the notion of him having an injury, and that was the issue of him looking the way he did, right? So, like I said, you know, Teddy Atlas he logically is not making any sense, you know, and he's just getting old. And like I said, you know, listening to Teddy Atlas is like listening to Stevie Wonder calling out the numbers on the scoreboard. Like, how can you see that? You know what I'm saying? Teddy Atlas, his emotion is blocking his vision from seeing the truth, and it's clear to see. It's clear as day. So I don't know why he's treating my man. He treats Lomachenko like he's his son or something. I don't know, man. He's so biased toward Lomachenko. It making him look bad on a different scale, you know. So let me go ahead and pick up a call. To say that it's crazy because Teo won the first 7 rounds. Arguably, some of the rounds that Loma won from the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th, they could have went either way. There's rounds that Teo possibly pulled off because Teo was doing good work. And then he clearly won round 12. So, I mean, what the hell Teddy Atlas talking about? If this is the best version of Lomachenko, the peak of Lomachenko, and he gets schooled by my man Teo, you still trying to justify that is just ridiculous at this point. Evis, he said Crawford #1 and Lomachenko shouldn't be top 10 shouldn't be on the top 10 list with 2 losses. I agree with that 1,000%, because I mean, who has 2 losses in less than 20 fights and he's on the pound for pound list? Nobody. So you could clearly see Lomachenko hope list is kicking in. His hope insurance is kicking in. But at the end of the day, they could cheer for you. They could lie for you. They could pump you up. They could hype you up, but they can't fight for you. And with time, he's going to get exposed even further. Shit, Tank probably doing more greasy. Shakur would definitely watch him. Devin Haney, there's a reason why he avoided a green version of Devin Haney, the way Lomachenko put it, but he never turned down any fights with his mandatories like Corolla, you know. But as soon as Devin Haney name got brought up, he started acting like a businessman. When he fights a guy like, you know, when he talk about Gervonta, he want to criticize Gervonta, but when it's his turn, now he acting like a businessman. He the best businessman of them all, purchasing fake belts. You know what I'm saying? Equivalence of the belt I got right here. You know what I'm saying? So if Lomachenko the champion, I'm a champion. If Teo is undisputed because of his WBC, then I know I'm a champion or something. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's clearly an agenda that's being pushed by ESPN, and it's been debunked, and it's being exposed as we speak. My man said all the new media outlets need to come together and make a pound for pound list. Yes, sir. I'm actually working on that. Me and Dante going to do a pound for pound list this year at the end of 2020, after all the dust is settled, after Gervonta has a fight, after Wilder and Fury possibly fight at the end of this year, if that ever happened. And also, you know, AJ, I think he's having a fight in December 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So there's still a lot of fights coming up. So we waiting on all the dust to settle. Once that happens, we definitely going to come out with our own pound for pound list called New Media. We're going to have our own awards, New Media Awards, when it comes to the fight of the year, the fight of the year, so on and so forth. So we definitely working on that as we speak. How you doing, AKHi? Who this is and where you calling from?
AKHi, what it do? It's your boy Zay.
What it do, bro?
What's going on, Jay, man? What's up with your boy Lomachenko, man? He been coming out with excuses left and right. I mean, every day is a new excuse. He's been talking to Pacquiao, it sound like, because he's using that, because Pacquiao is the pioneer of the shoulder excuse. He came out with that blueprint. You know what I'm saying? When you lose a big fight, blame it on your shoulder. So, I mean, have you heard about Lomachenko visiting the Philippines, swimming in the sea or the ocean, in the salt water in order to heal his injury? Huh?
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to send a shout out to Greg, man. Love his points. Love when he calls in, man. Shout out Greg, brother. Shout out OG2, man. But to answer your question, AKHi, brother, which is an awesome question, I think, man, it's the agony of defeat, the agony of loss. I deeply believe that every fighter doesn't come in 100%. I believe every fighter, when they talk about that stuff, I'm 100% ready. He doesn't know what he's walking into and all this bullshit they be talking, man. It's straight just out of promotion, man, and a check, man. It's straight out of promotion and selling the fight, man. Every fighter doesn't come in at 100%. But in Lomachenko's case, brother, I deeply believe that it's the agony of defeat because the victory didn't go his way. I deeply believe that that's what happened, and he wanted to, exercise some kind of way to maybe, exercising his way towards a rematch clause. Maybe. As far as I'm concerned, Tio's on the bigger and better thing.
Yeah, there's no rematch.
Yeah, Tio's on the bigger and better things. I think, in my honest opinion, he should fight not Gervonta Davis, but Tio. He should fight Teofimo Lopez.
Who should?
No, Teofimo should fight Devin Haney. I'm tripping. Teofimo should fight Devin Haney to be undisputed, and that should really be the fight next. To be honest with you, bro.
Well, what's your take on Bob Arum? He came out and said that he want Ryan versus Tio if Ryan is able to win his next fight against Campbell. He said that he'd rather see that fight next for Tio. What's your take on Ryan? And because Ryan been saying a lot about Campbell, he said Campbell's known for losing. All his step-ups, he lost. He even got a loss to a fighter that he wasn't supposed to lose to. So he got 20 fights, 3 losses. But supposedly, Ryan, that's all he need right now in order to get a Tio fight. However, they not seem to be interested in the Devin Haney fight. They don't want to become undisputed, at least not Bob and ESPN. They just, it's that NBF, no black fighters. And we already know what that stands for because, Bob Arum, his right-hand man, the matchmaker, he stated that. So what's your take on that?
To be honest with you, bro, that's just complete and utter bullshit for Bob Arum to be pulling this kind of bullshit, bro. And the reason I'm saying that, bro, is because of the simple fact that how can he be sitting here calling Teofimo undisputed and calling Teofimo at lightweight when he hasn't even fought Devin Haney? He said it himself after the fight on ESPN at the Fight Podcast. The biggest fight would be Devin Haney, and even on paper. Why is he talking about Ryan Garcia? Why is Ryan Garcia being even mentioned?
Bob Arum said that?
No, Teofimo did, and his dad.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about,
yeah. Yeah, and the simple fact that everybody's talking about all these other fights that need to be made with Tio and this and that, man, I'm not trying to, sound like a, antagonist or, just some asshole, but the fight that needs to be talked about is Teofimo versus Devin Haney for undisputed. I don't know what the hell Bob Arum's on, dude. I honestly think Bob Arum's looking for extra money, and I think he's trying to stay with the popular crowd because Ryan Garcia is very popular on social media. So I think he's trying to stick with that. Same with Tio because he's a young, upcoming, undisputed fighter, supposedly, and this and that. Well, I think that's what Bob Arum's on.
I think what he's looking at is that he's looking at the safest fight. To be honest with you, because Tank is a bigger fight. If we're talking about bigger fight at the moment, Tank is a bigger fight. Tio versus Tank will be a huge, tremendous fight. But he seemed to be paying attention to Ryan more so because I think he's looking at Ryan like he's more beatable. When it comes to Devin, they're looking at Lomachenko's business decision of requesting a belt, a witness protection belt, the French fries belt, in order to avoid Devin. And they're like, hold on, if Lomachenko wanted no smoke with Devin that much, he must see something in Devin, so we don't want that Devin problem. And when you know,
Fact.
Teo Sr. came out and said that that's his dream fight down the line. That's going to be a mega fight, the biggest mega fight for Teo career. That lets you know what's their mindset when it comes to the Devin Haney fight. I mean, they will definitely not trying to rush it. I do believe they're going to fight eventually, but from what I've been hearing from Teo and his father, and as far as the network itself, ESPN, and now the promoter Bob Arum, it sounds like they don't want the Devin Haney fight right now. So I mean, I could be wrong. Teo is talking shit when it comes to Devin Haney, but talk is cheap.
Exactly.
Talk is cheap. So at the end of the day, I think Teo might want the fight, but it's a lot of people whispering in his ear like, yo, don't take that Devin Haney fight right now. I mean, I think including his father, most likely, and Bob Arum definitely.
And the fact that he lost to him in sparring. Devin Haney whooped his ass in sparring twice.
Well, I mean, his father, Bill Haney told me that. Bill Haney said that he couldn't touch him. Teo couldn't touch Devin Haney in sparring. So that's already a bad sign right there. I told him, I was like, well, if that's the case, then I don't want them to fight. I don't see them fighting anytime soon, because if Bob Arum ever hear that, this case closed. You know what I'm saying? So what you think? What about Tank? He did call out Teo. He said that he's gonna avoid me. He said he's not more gifted than me. He's not more special. That's what he told Max. You know what I'm saying? But then Max Kellerman interviewed Teo, and he pretty much gave Teo a way out. He's encouraging Teo to avoid Tank. He was telling him like, are you going to move up to 140 because you can no longer make the weight, or are you interested in a guy like Tank? And then pretty much Teo said, I mean, I'm the man right now because I did beat the man, which was Lomachenko, the man that they didn't want to fight, which that statement is not 100% correct, because we know it was Lomachenko who didn't want to fight Devin Haney, not the other way around. But Teo, he pointed out, like, he didn't sound like he wanted Tank next, is what I'm saying. He didn't say, I'll fight him next, so on and so forth. So what's your take on that fight, Tank versus Teo? What's the possibility of that fight? Because Tank is a big name, you know what I mean? So if you guys, I mean, Devin is a big name as well. So that ain't even why the Devin Haney fight can't happen. So what's your take on Tank versus Devin Haney? Tank versus Teo.
Man, that is a dream fight. Beautiful question, my brother AKHi. Man, that's why my brother is the best of the best in boxing media, new generation style. That's how we do it.
New media, baby.
But to answer that question, bro, damn, that's like a 50. Yeah, that's a 50-50 question, man. That's a 50-50 fight right there. Gervonta is my one. Everybody knows that. Honestly, I would say nobody would get stopped in that fight, to be honest. I think that fight would go decision. I would have to give it to my boy Gervonta winning that fight. But as far as on paper, it would definitely be a very, very great fight as far as numbers and as far as revenue being brought in, as far as box sales and on contract terms. It would be a beautiful fight to be made. I think that fight should be held at the MGM Grand on pay-per-view. I deeply believe that would be a fight definitely for a belt. I don't think that fight should be a eliminator fight. That should definitely be a walk. We're gonna see the highest of the highest in skills. We're gonna see them at their best. We're gonna find we would see the best going against the best. Beautiful fight. But I would have Gervonta Davis definitely beating him. And I'm glad you brought him up, because I wanted to get your take on something, actually. I wanted to get your take on Gervonta Davis having conditioning issues at 135 when he went against Gamboa. Everybody was talking about that. And they're saying that, and I'm hearing a lot of critics talk about how he's going down at 130 for Leo Santa Cruz, that he might have possible issues making 130. And it could play a possible stamina role issue with him against Leo Santa Cruz, which we all know would be a bad idea. What's your take on that, and how do you think that fight would play out if that comes to fruition.
Well, just as far as Tio versus Tank first, I think that's a blockbuster fight. I think stylistically is a tremendous fight, unlike the Lomachenko fight, because Tank won't shy away from Tio. Tank got dynamite with both hands.
Facts.
Tank is arguably a harder puncher than Tio. Tio obviously have a small size advantage, but that ain't gonna be the because at the end of the day, when they were sparring, like that didn't bother Tank then either. So at the end of the day, I just see Tank pretty much. They both have tremendous attributes. Tank possibly he a little faster, hit a little bit harder. Tio is more dedicated for sure. So that fight is, man, that's a dream fight, like you said, and it has to happen now. And like Devin Haney pointed out, Tio shouldn't really move up to 147 when all the big names are at 135. I mean, if we all being honest, at 140, there's nobody but Rosario and Josh Taylor. Now, them two names, nobody know these cats. I mean, Josh Taylor, he a pound for pound fighter in my book. Josh Taylor is one of the best. So him becoming,
I think he's underrated.
Yeah, he gonna be undisputed for sure, and that fight gonna eventually happen with Tio. So why rush that fight? Let Taylor build his name. Let Tio become undisputed first. Why rush going to 140 when Tio can make all these big fights at 135? The fight with Ryan is a mega fight. The fight with Devin is a mega fight. The fight with Tank is a mega fight. I mean, these are 3 mega fights. So I think he really should stay at 135. I know he struggled to make the weight, but with the right conditioning coach, I think he could do it. But when it comes to, like I said, that Tank fight, man, that's going to be a 50-50 fight for sure. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to Tank versus Cruz, first of all, the reason why he struggled to make 135 against Gamboa, he was just playing. He was just messing around. He was not training. He was not taking camp seriously because he was thinking, I'm moving up 5 pounds. And because I am moving up 5 pounds, I should make the weight very comfortably. But he slacked off a whole lot. He gained a whole lot of weight in between fights. Therefore, he struggled to make the weight. And now, like I told you before, he did in the corner, he did talk to his trainer, and he said, I don't know what's wrong with my body during the Gamboa fight. And I know he was fighting at a certain pace in order to not get gassed out. But against Gamboa, who was a wounded opponent, and also the fact that he was able to he was able to hurt Gamboa on more than one occasion, he pretty much cruised it out till he landed the perfect punch and got him out of there. Now with Leo, it's completely a different Tank. Tank is coming prepared. Tank, I see a different dedication level. He knows that he cannot let his fans down like he did with Gamboa, because he definitely let me down. I was highly disappointed in Gervonta not capitalizing on the moment. So he already pointed that out, saying that he no longer going to make that mistake. Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know what I'm saying? This is the third time, and the third time is the charm. So I think Gervonta knows that this is for all marvels at this moment. He better make the weight, and more importantly, he better be in shape, because Tio has something very intelligent to say right after the fight with Lomachenko. He said, when I'm making 135, I need these guys he was talking about his coaches. He said, I need these guys to help me make weight while I'm 100% mentally. So he could think, because boxing is, like Mike Tyson said, 90% mental. He needs to be able to think in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So as long as Gervonta is not killing himself to make the weight in which he's mentally going to be A-okay, he should be fine. Because remember, Leo is not a huge power puncher. He's an average puncher. He's a combination puncher. He also throws a lot of punches, but he's not a power puncher in which you got to worry about gassing out, because he gonna get you out of there. So I think Gervonta could sit in the pocket and take a lot of punches, relying on his defense, because when Tank is sharp, his defense is good. It's just when he playing a whole lot or showboating, he gets caught with unnecessary punches. So I think Gervonta could sit in the pocket, catch a lot of punches when it comes from when it comes to the Leo fight. Also, his power is the equalizer. So even if he's gassed out, he could just throw a punch here and there and get his respect. I don't care what kind of chin Leo has. He gonna respect what Gervonta brings to the table, which is power and speed. I mean, speed is power. So to have power on top of that, it's case closed. Your opponent will definitely respect you, especially at Tank Best division, which is 130. So I just seeing the fight being ugly. If Gervonta don't get Tank out of there early, he going to definitely get him out of there late with body shots, because Leo does have a great chin. So it's all going to start off from the body, and Tank is a great body puncher. A lot of people don't give him credit for that because he has so many tools that, obviously this one tool works all the time, which is his power. So they don't pay attention to his other tools. But I believe he's a great he's a great body puncher. He a great boxer. He got a lot of skills. So I just see him cruising the fight and stopping Leo. If it does go to the scorecards, I'll be highly impressive of Leo. I think Leo already gave his game plan away, because Leo, during the press conference with Floyd, he said that he's going to box early, seeing if he could take the power, he's going to apply pressure. And Floyd, he responded to Leo like, man, I didn't get to where I am. I didn't get to where I am today by giving away my game plan. He was responding to Leo, giving his game plan to the whole world right in front of Gervonta, which was, reckless by his behalf. So I know Leo, he felt like, hey, I mean, you should already know that I'm going to do that because you are a power puncher. But still, you want to surprise him fight night. So the fact that he's saying that he's going to box him early, then turn it up late, I think that's a mistake by Leo revealing his game plan. So all around the boards, Gervonta knows what's coming. He could anticipate what's coming. And Gervonta is just a different caliber fighter. He's a special talent. He got that shit you can't teach. So I just see him, dominating Leo in kind of a fashion that Floyd dominated Gotti. But we most likely see a stoppage. What's your take?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, my brother. You took the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Another thing that was floating around about that was the fact that his coach, Gervonta Davis's coach, was having problems with Mayweather. Mayweather didn't like his coach or something was going on to the point to where Mayweather wanted to he wants to step in and be in Gervonta's corner for this fight. And I'm like, well, these guys really aren't in.
Hold on. Who said that?
Hmm?
Say it again. So what happened?
It's just buzz going around about Gervonta Davis's coach and Mayweather not liking what he's seen from the coaches, and just old media trying to start freaking crap, I'm guessing. But as far as I'm concerned, man, I think it's just rumors going around, bro, because Mayweather, bro, hasn't came out and said anything himself about it yet. So
he did say that.
I don't know what
he did say that during. He did say that.
Oh, so he did. Okay, he did say that. Okay, yeah.
He didn't say it. Let me point out what he said during the Tank Davis, workout session. Floyd Mayweather, when he pointed out there's too many belts in boxing, so on and so forth, Floyd Mayweather did say that I'm gonna be hands-on with Tank and I'm gonna be in his corner fight night. Now I took that as he's gonna be part of his corner. Like, obviously the fight, it ain't in the bubble. I take that back. It ain't gonna be in the bubble, but they're gonna have a crowd, at a certain capacity. So I took that as maybe Floyd talking like, in the corner, it'd be more than one trainer. I don't think, Floyd gonna be his main trainer. I think Gervonta gonna still have his trainer with him. Floyd Mayweather just gonna also give him additional tips. That's how I took it, because I mean, I don't know. Like, Gervonta, with his training, he got this far. Obviously he always takes tips from Floyd, but it's his trainer that got him this far. And I know Gervonta being very loyal to his team, in which he's just not gonna dub his trainer. So I think that's just rumors based. I think they took Floyd Mayweather words out of context, in which he said that he's going to be in the corner. So they assumed that he kicking his trainer out. you know, Gervonta is not that type of guy. And I, like I said, I understand if it's the Lomachenko fight or like the Teo fight and Floyd, like, hold on, I got to be there. You know what I'm saying? Telling you everything. But against Leo, man, Floyd Mayweather going to be chilling, man. He going to tell him, you know what Floyd going to be telling Gervonta? Floyd is going to be telling Gervonta, keep doing that shit right there. Keep doing that shit right there. Just like Roger Mayweather used to tell Floyd. Floyd Mayweather going to be telling Gervonta, keep doing that shit right there, man. That right there, keep doing that right there. So I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? So, damn, my man dipped out. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up another call. Jay, what happened? Son Ray, walaikum salam, my brother. How you doing? Robert, what's going on?
Chilling, Sam. It's real rap.
Oh, real rap. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, chilling, bro. I ain't heard from you in a minute, man. I gotta talk to you offline. Whenever you get some free time later. I'm in Denver right now, but I'm gonna call you when I get to a better area. Whenever you freed up. I want to talk number one. So I gotta salute you. I know you almost at 40. You know what I'm saying? Salute to that.
Oh, yes,
salute
sir,
to
man.
the grind.
Appreciate everybody, you know, that got me this far, you know what I'm saying? And 40K, you know what I mean? That's a record in less than 2 years, you know what I'm saying? I've been back like 2 years now. So I appreciate everybody that's been pushing me and supporting the grind, you know what I'm saying? So like I always talk about the haters. I always talk about the decaps, but my AKHis, you guys right here, you know what I'm saying? So yes.
Facts. So something else I wanna say. I gotta shout my dog, OG Swag out. Gotta salute my dog. The last caller, Jay Giles, I gotta salute him too, man. He support my channel. So salute to Jay. And RJ too, man. Salute to my dog RJ. Let's get it, man. Let's get this box.
Missing. What happened to RJ? Is he in the chat? Or he's missing today?
Hey man, life hit, bro. You know, this coronavirus real, but I had to step away and do my thing. But I'm gonna be here more often, man. I got more time now, you know what I'm saying? So I'll be able to a lot of times I be in this bitch, catch the playback, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, man, when I'm driving, I be in these messed up areas. So I finally caught me an area where I could call in, participate, you know, show my love, you know what I'm saying, show my support. Let's get this boxing in, Sam. So look, straight up with Loma and Teo. I'm gonna be honest, man. I picked Teo at first, then I ended up switching my pick to Loma only because I was going with the odds as far as what I've seen in boxing and what I know about the sport. But majority of the time, the boxer is gonna beat the puncher. Majority. But this motherfucker never fought. We didn't get no action from Loma to like round 7, round 8. You know, so I gotta go back and watch that fight again. But I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? The first thing I thought of was Teo Power must be legit. Cause this motherfucker don't wanna let his hands go. Number one. Number two, he had like a late resurgence, but I'm gonna get back to the earlier rounds before I talk on Lomo's low-key late resurgence. I don't know what the game plan was. You know, I don't know if Lomo thought he was the white version of Sweet Pea and he could duck and dodge everything. But a lot of that shit that y'all thought was getting blocked was landing. Look at his face. His face shows it all.
And his body.
When you got a real defensive fighter, say again?
And his body too. The man was bending down when he was getting hit to the body.
Bruised up. Facts. Whenever I watch Floyd fight, Sweet Pea fight, real defensive chess masters, they don't look like that. So you know what that means? That means that Paulie and Larry Merchant owe the black community and all black boxers from the beginning of time an apology. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want the shit. I just want them on their knees, bro, apologizing to the boxers. Because what they did, especially Paulie with his bitch ass, Paulie was talking about, there goes the last great American boxer. Larry Merchant, one of the two. I know Larry Merchant said we didn't have any more great American boxers. But you know that's just cold word to great black boxers. That's all it is. with his bitch ass. Motherfucker need to die. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not sorry. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker like trash from the crib. You know, like they only pull him out the coffin to do interviews and shit, and then they put his old ass back in the coffin. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker need to die, bro. Number two, Paulie is a bitch. Paulie was out here talking all this shit about Eastern Europeans. Guess what, Paulie and Larry Merchant? The boy got exposed. I guess Loma must be the last great white hype, huh? That's what it looked like to me. This dude must be the last great white hope. Period.
Yeah,
because I ain't see nothing special.
Yeah, as far as Larry,
I ain't see nothing special about Loma, fam. Right. Yeah, go ahead, Aki.
Yeah, as far as Larry and Paulie, we already know what they're about, and I already put out a video on Paulie. You know what I'm saying? And when it came to Larry, we already know his agenda. I mean, his True Colors Bing came out a long time ago, so you know I really ain't trying to give them no more attention because we making them relevant. To be honest with you, so we just gonna, you know, Paulie already been fired. We haven't heard from him since, and I'm pretty sure we ain't gonna hear from him after this either. So as far as the White Hope, I mean. Like Devin Haney told him, man, you know, I'll never lose to a white boy. And they let him slide with that. You know what I'm saying? And Lomachenko, supposedly this greatest white hope, requested a belt to avoid him. You know what I mean? And talking about the fight, it was what Teo did. You know what I'm saying? Like, people got to realize it wasn't just Teo power and speed. It was also his reflexes and skill. Lomachenko was never in position to throw punches. He's not comfortable to let his hands fly if he's in the element of danger of being hit. So Lomachenko is not your special fighter like a Floyd Mayweather, a Sweet Pea, a guy who could rely on reflexes, for example. So he could throw a punch in a bad position, and in case his opponent counter, he don't have the reflexes to depend on in order to get him out of there. So because of that, his lack of reflexes, his lack of, his lack of talent in certain areas limits him. So he has to get in position with his footwork in order to let his hand fly. So when he's in a safe position, he try to circle around you. And if once he's around you, pretty much, he let his hands fly. But Teo never let him do that. He never let him circle around him. He always kept him at bay. If he tried to do that pivot move and circling around, he will hit him with a hook to the body or with a hook upstairs, which caught Lomachenko attention early. So he stopped doing that. And he was waiting for Teo to slow down in order to start throwing his offense and for that power and that steam to go away. But like I said, that shows Lomachenko is nothing special. He want to tire his man out instead of forcing his man to tire out by going to his body, by making the younger buck overwork, so on and so forth. So it's just exposed so many elements and so many different things of Lomachenko. They want to say he pound for pound. They want to say he this. They want to say he's that. But I mean, at the end of the day,
I want to speak on that too.
Yeah, he ain't. I mean, he ain't even on the pound for pound anymore. He got knocked off the pound for pound. Teo kicked him out of the pound for pound. Teo took over the pound for pound, period.
Just remind me, son.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, look, 1 second, fam. Look, 1 second, because I got to adjust something. But remind me, pound for pound, because I don't want to forget. Just say pound for pound. I'm not going to forget my point. I want to adjust. I'm not going to say no names, but somebody in the chat basically, hold on, where he at? He said, if Lomo is done, I forgot to say his name, John. If Lomo is done and it's trash, then Teo must suck too. Bro, that makes no logic. That makes no logic. And then somebody else said,
hold on. Let me answer that. No, let me answer that. See, we saying Lomachenko is exposed because of how old media hyped him out to be. Old media said he pound for pound number one. He sure didn't show me any pound for pound number one qualities. So old media said he the Matrix. The whole purpose of the Matrix is you're supposed to be able to dodge punches like you dodge bullets. And Lomachenko showed none of that. So that's why we're saying he's exposed. Ain't no doubt about it. He's a good fighter. Of course, like if you're going to win 2 gold medals, you're a good fighter. But he definitely not a great fighter in which he in the realm of greatness with all the greats. No, absolutely not. Because Teo, he took over the pound for pound list and kicked him out of there, putting him in, putting old media in like Teo, what he pretty much did, all that hype, all that ridiculous comments they made when it came to Lomachenko, every single comment exploded on their face because they overhyped Lomachenko.
That's the point, and that's the point. Look, Kim, look, I know Nims used to love, and like a lot of boxing peers love Lomo's skill set from what they saw, but it wasn't tested against top competition. So there's me. I'm 6 feet tall, bro. I'm 6 feet. If I play against second and third graders, I'm gonna be on some Shaq shit. I'm gonna be Wilt Chamberlain, some fucking second and third graders, because their skill level isn't to my skill level. Now let me take my ass and play some cats on my skill level. I'm not going to dominate to the same level unless I'm that great.
Right.
Obviously, Loma was not that great. And the next point that I wanted to make is this. As a boxing fan, if you say, oh, one second, right for pound. 1 second, I'm going to get to it because I want to talk on Jamel, because niggas going to put some fucking respect on Jamel Charlo, on both the Charlos, matter of fact. But 1 second before I get to that. If you're a real boxing fan, if you're a real fan of the sport, there's nothing wrong with listening to experts. There's nothing wrong with listening to talking heads. But at the end of the day, you got to trust your own fucking eyes, man. Don't get in the comments talking about, well, 7 experts had this, 7 experts. Who gives a fuck? I don't care what 7 experts said when the fucking sport is corrupt from the media. Who gives a fuck what they got to say? Now, let me get to the pound for pound. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I might give a slot, maybe 1 slot to a non-black fighter. Other than that, I got all black fighters in my top 10. I don't give a fuck. I can't be racist. It's impossible. Right. Number 1, this is how I would do it. Because the pound for pound is a bullshit ass list anyway. But since we're going to talk on pound for pound, why don't we do it? In my mind, I would do it like the college rankings, college football rankings. You're only ranked as high as your toughest, most recent competition. You can't keep a nigga number 1 that ain't fought nobody in 6, 7 years. The fuck is wrong with you? No problem. You want to add the accolades and bring the accolades to the table and the accomplishments? No problem. But strength of schedule, when it comes to football, same thing with strength and opponent. That shit matters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't understand you cats, bro, that say that you love the sport, but you have no idea of how to actually judge it. If you got Canelo number 1, you are not a fan of the sport. You're a decaf, man. Canelo is a judge sheet. Judge sheet's automatically out of there. Period. Don't care. Don't care how you bitch ass feel either. The truth is the truth. Y'all know what we say about the truth. It's either going to attract or repel. And even when it repel, it still make the trolls come back because they can't get enough of that shit.
But when it comes to the pound for pound, when it comes to the pound for pound, we got to make it clear, that, for example, this year alone, if you don't have Jamel and Jamal on your pound for pound, you clearly biased because they put themselves on the pound for pound. I mean, at the end of the day, when you put fighters on the pound for pound, this is not us putting fighters on the pound for pound because, I like this fighter, so I'm going to put him higher on the pound for pound. Nah, you got to do it without any emotion, all logically and factually, depending on what the fighters did. So, I mean, for example, Teo definitely cracked the pound for pound this year. You got Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Jamal. So, that's just off the dome fighters that will be on the pound for pound list. And me and Dante are going to definitely come out with a pound for pound list called New Media Pound for Pound list at the end of 2020. We just want to see how the landscape in the sport of boxing going to pretty much come out with once all the dust settles at the end of 2020. So with that being said, go ahead, wrap it up because, I got one more caller. And I'll go ahead and end the show.
I got you. No, I got you. if they want me to list my pound for pound right now, they're not gonna like my pound for pound. But I would have Jamel. I'm not saying number one, but Jamel has to be in the top 5. Number one, he beat the man that beat the man. Just like how y'all said Teo, beat the man that beat the man. So I would have the Charlos definitely in the top 5. Both of I don't know about Big Charlo. Big Charlo, I got him in the 10, but I definitely got to have Jamel in the 5. Jamel, as far as I'm concerned, is undisputed. Took that WBO belt. Whatever the kid that's got that WBO belt in the 154, whatever his name is, fuck him. He wasn't talking none of this shit until Jamel put in all the hard work, all the hard labor, and now you want to do some last minute, give me the man, fuck you. What you turn that line, man? So I would definitely have Jamel in my top 3, top 5 for sure. I gotta have Spence in there. You know what I'm saying? I hate to do it, but I gotta put Crawford in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got. Mel, Spence, Crawford. I put Teo in the top 10. Man, number 1, I'd have to sit down and think on my number 1. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all niggas haters, I'll put Wilder for right now until I adjust it for later. But I got Wilder number 1 because you niggas hate it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, salute to my dog, AKHi. Like I said, next time I call, I'm going to have my whole pound for pound together. But I don't have Loma or Canelo in my shit at all. You know what I'm saying? And last thing. When I say the last great white hope, I saw a couple of y'all say Caleb Plant, number 1. Caleb Plant fights like a black dude, and he's American. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be racist. At the same time, I can't be racist. You know what I'm saying? My comments are to people that are outside of my land bag. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to root for y'all dude, hard body. I'm going to root for my black Americans, hard body. I don't give a fuck how none of y'all feel about it. I root black first. I root for my people first. Everybody else come after my people. I like Caleb Plant, but he comes after all my people. I root for all black fighters first. I don't give a damn how you niggas feel about this.
Yeah, well,
I'm out, man. It's real rap.
Well, before you go out, real rap, I just want to say, well, at the end of the day, when we put the pound for pound list, it don't matter what color you are. It's all about your accomplishment. So Caleb Plant, he a good fighter, but he haven't fought, the Benavides of the world. Once he do that, and once all the dust settle at 168, then if he come out as the winner, he definitely will be higher on the pound for pound. But at the moment, I don't even know if he's on the top 10 pound for pound because I got to see the landscape in the sport of boxing. But at the end of the day, it ain't about color. To me, it don't matter if you're my people or you're not. It's all about accomplishment.
It's really not.
I understand for every action, it's an equal and opposite reaction, but still, we have to stay objective.
The only reason why I say that, though, AKHi, hold on. It's not about not being objective. You know why I say that? Because Mexicans root for Canelo and they root for, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with rooting. No, there's nothing wrong with rooting. But rooting and actually placing somebody where they should be placed.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm talking about rooting. Yeah. I root for my guys first.
That's okay. But listen. What I'm saying is rooting is one thing, but placing somebody on a pound for pound list is another, because you got to do it objectively, because we know better than old media if we are going to be biased or a person is going to be biased to their people. So we pretty much, if you say that with that logic, you as biased as old media, because you have to be objectively, and you don't got to be biased toward black fighters, because the black fighters are the most dominant fighters in the game. The pound for pound list is full of black fighters, if we all being honest. So you don't have to be biased. The only reason old media is biased because they hate the fact that there's so many black fighters on the list, so they want to equal out the playing field. But all I'm saying is we know better than old media if we are going to be biased like they are. That's why new media is all about the truth and nothing but the truth. But great talking with you, my brother.
That's a great point. That's a great point. When you say it like that, obviously I can't disagree with that.
Yes,
I might have not made my point across as well as I should have, but I root for my guys. Yeah, that's why I said I'm not going to give a straight out.
Yeah, rooting is, I was rooting for Teo. You feel me? But I was picking. I thought Lomachenko was going to win by decision. You know, that's two different things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But great.
I'm gonna open it back up, bro. I'm opening it back up. I'm opening it back up, bro. I appreciate you letting me get my whole shit up. You already know it's love, AKHi, man.
Yes,
I'm gonna let somebody else call in, man. But look, salute to you, salute to the chat, man. I'm back in there. Salute to my dog, OG Swag. We can't be racist. It's impossible, family. Peace.
Yes, peace. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead do a couple more topics. I'll probably pick up one more call. So Max Kellerman came out. Excuse me. So Max Kellerman came out, and he was pretty much encouraging Teofimo Lopez to avoid Haney and Tank. Max Hypocrisy Kellerman is basically encouraging Lopez to avoid Devin Haney and act like a businessman. And with that same breath, he criticized Floyd Mayweather, lying on his name, claiming Floyd was a businessman the way he was pursuing his career when he was Pretty Boy. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because, you know, Max Hypocrisy Kellerman falsely criticized Floyd for being a businessman. So you're going to criticize Floyd Mayweather of not fighting the best, the guys he was supposed to fight. So let's talk about it. As Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather, it wasn't who he fought. The question was at the time, who is going to fight Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather? Go back to the commentary when Floyd Mayweather was fighting Pretty Boy Floyd. Just the commentary alone. The question wasn't who is Floyd Mayweather is willing to fight next. The question was who is willing to fight the boogeyman Pretty Boy Floyd. He had everybody shook. So for Max Kellerman to lie on Pretty Boy name lets you know his agenda that he's coming with. Lying to the fans on national TV. So the money version, Money Mayweather fought Sugar Shane Mosley. First of all, let's start it off with this, just to debunk everything Max Kellerman had to say, because let's put the things in perspective. Pretty Boy obviously was the boogeyman. The people was avoiding him. Sugar Shane, he said, my teeth is stopping the fight. You know, he blamed the fight not happening on his teeth because he had to do, you know, get his teeth replaced, so on and so forth. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya avoided him. Then, I mean, I could just call out so many names that didn't want no smoke with Floyd Mayweather. Kalasgi or Kara, damn, I forgot his name at 140. But the guy who Ricky Hatton beat, also Ricky Hatton himself avoided Pretty Boy. It wasn't until Floyd Mayweather became Money May, and he was making so much money that he became the draw, so they had to see him. Now, as Pretty Boy, Floyd Mayweather was making a guarantee of 10 million, 12 million, sometimes, you know, I think 12 million sometimes. He even got to 15 million at one point, and he was still being avoided. He was still being the boogeyman at that time because he was so good that people didn't want no part of Floyd. Then as Money May, he became the draw so much that it was worth that ass beating that you're going to receive is okay, you know? So, hold on, let me remove this banner. So, the point that I'm trying to point out is that as Money May, that's a different stage. Floyd Mayweather was drawing so much attention and so much revenue that it was worth the risk. The award outweighs the risk. Losing to Floyd made you more popular. Your next payday after losing was more than what it would have been if you didn't lose to Floyd. So it was worth the risk. So off the bat, Floyd Mayweather came off retirement after he beat Marquez in more of a dominant fashion than Pacquiao ever did. He tried to fight Pacquiao. Pacquiao turned it down because of the drug test. So Pacquiao avoided Floyd Mayweather because he blamed it on a drug test. And we already know what time it is. Later on, Bob Arum, he really didn't want the fight. So facts over emotion, even Freddie Roach admitted that it was Pacquiao and his team that turned down the Floyd Mayweather fight on more than one occasion. So it was a Pacquiao who avoided Floyd Mayweather in his prime, either because he knew Floyd Mayweather was too good or he was on something. Moving forward, he went to the next best thing, Sugar Shane Mosley, who knocked out Margarito. So he was like, you know what? You know, Margarito got knocked out by Sugar Shane. people were saying Floyd Mayweather ducking Sugar Shane now. So Floyd Mayweather fought him because he came and disrespected Floyd right after the fight. He fought Ortiz right after he beat Berto, undefeated version. He fought, I think, Canelo Alvarez after he unified with Trout. He was the unified champion, undefeated. He fought Manny Pacquiao when Pacquiao finally admitted, was willing to fight him. He fought Maidana twice. He fought Cotto after he beat Margarito. So Floyd Mayweather never dodged any opponent. Kenny Bayless interviews, you guys could go back and watch. Every time Kenny Bayless pointed out a fighter, Floyd Mayweather went and fought that guy. So maximum hypocrisy trying to paint the narrative Floyd Mayweather was a businessman, but it's a clear lie because Floyd Mayweather beat all his favorite fighters. But ironically enough, with that same breath he criticizing Floyd, Max Kellerman is encouraging Teo to avoid Haney. He did not even mention Haney at any point during that interview with Teo, in which he stated, Teo, you're the undisputed champion. There's no other champion, which is a clear lie. He called Teo the super champion. There's no other champion when he knows that Devin Haney, that Lomachenko or Nomachenko requested a witness protection belt. He purchased a belt that's equivalent to that belt you buy from Walmart in order to keep your pants up, a French fries belt. He knows, Max Kellerman knows that as much as I do. He knows that Lomachenko purchased the belt in order to avoid Devin Haney. In other words, he was stripped of his belt, but bought a belt called the French fries belt in order to save face, in which why he avoided Devin Haney, right? So he knows the real champion is the WBC, Devin Haney, but he lied on national TV to the whole world when BoxRec says otherwise, when Wikipedia says otherwise, when even ESPN says otherwise. They all have WBC champion as Devin Haney. BoxRec, you could go and check. They have it listed. Teo was fighting Lomachenko for the WBA, WBO, IBF titles, and the WBC champion is still Devin Haney. So that's just to prove that Max Kellerman lied on national TV. So there's nothing that he wouldn't do. But it's ironic to me that Max Kellerman is always using Floyd Mayweather's name like he was when he was interviewing Gervonta. But he wouldn't criticize the fighters that's actually ducking, like Canelo and Gennady Golovkin, that's avoiding an Andre, that Gennady Golovkin who avoided Andre Ward, Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez who avoided and still avoiding Charlo and Andre to this day. I find it ironic that he won't criticize those guys who's actually ducking. Forget talking about being a businessman. They pretty much been ducking for the past 5 years or 6 years. But he'd rather talk about a guy who was the most feared, that fought everybody, Floyd, right? So, like I said, with the same breath, he criticizing Floyd of being a businessman, supposedly. He telling and he encouraging Teo to behave like a businessman, to avoid Devin Haney, to not fight Devin Haney for undisputed, when Teo is actually wanted to fight Devin Haney. He's encouraging also Teo to avoid Tank. He's trying to give Teo a way out, telling him, listen, you could hardly make the weight. Are you going to move up to 140 like your father wants you to, like you want to? Or are you going to wait around for a mega fight with Tank at 135? When he knows that could be next right away, Tank already called him out on his show, But he's trying to give Teo a way out. When Teo already said right after the Lomachenko fight, I don't think these guys want to fight me, but if they want to fight me, they're more than welcome to. They're going to have the same faith as Lomachenko. He wanted to fight. He dissed Devin Haney, calling him email champion. But what is Teo? Teo's not going to be undisputed with an email title because it was Teo who requested for the French fries belt. He requested that belt from the WBC if he beats Lomachenko through email. So who is really the email champion here in this conversation? But at least Teo, on his end, he's not to blame for this made-up title that Canelo was the pioneer for. He's not to blame for what Lomachenko did. However, he could right Lomachenko wrongs by actually fighting Devin Haney. So Teo is not to blame, but he actually wants to fight Devin Haney. He called out Devin Haney when the commentators, Tessitore, never brought up Devin Haney. He the one that voluntarily brought up Devin Haney. He the one that said he willing to fight Devin Haney. And Max Kellerman and Tessitore and all these guys that work for ESPN and old media, they encouraging Teo, telling him, whispering to his ear, hey, don't fight Devin Haney right now. But it don't make no logical sense for Max Kellerman and ESPN to stay criticizing Floyd Mayweather. With the same breath, they tell Teo to act like a businessman and avoid the Devin Haney of the world, the Tank Davis of the world, when those are mega fights. That logically makes no sense. So what it all comes down to, the conclusion of all of this, is that Max Hypocrisy Kellerman, he want the hope list fighters to move like a businessman and cherry pick without calling them out for it. But for the coincidental list fighters, he want them to fight the best while they being the most feared, but turn around and call them cherry picking, lying to the public. That's the words of Max Hypocrisy Kellerman. That's his agenda, basically. Like I said, if you're going to criticize Floyd, then I want you to criticize. If you're going to criticize Floyd Mayweather, then I want you to criticize every single fighter in the game, because none of them did what Floyd Mayweather did and came even close. It makes no logical sense for a guy who cherry-picked that, got that far, fought 23 world champions. He fought so many fighters on the pound-for-pound list, from Corrales to Castillo to Hernandez to Manny Pacquiao, Sugar Shane Mosley to Oscar De La Hoya, and the list goes on and on. Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, Pacquiao. So it makes no sense for you to criticize Floyd, who fought everybody, and not criticize every single fighter in the game. Max Hypocrisy Kellerman want to give my Tyson Fury credit for fighting the best when he fought Tom Schwartz and Wallen, two cherry picks, instead of fighting Dillian White, who was, when he was ordered by the WBC, and other fighters that was calling him out, like Ortiz, Luis Ortiz, and the list goes on and on. He don't want to call out Tyson Fury for cherry picking. He don't want to call out Canelo for cherry picking, avoiding Canelo and avoiding Charlo and Andre. He don't want to call out Gennady Golovkin for avoiding Lara and Andre Ward, Charlo, Andre, Saunders. He don't want to call out these guys, but he rather lie and criticize Floyd. That's why I say, one of my favorite Floyd Mayweather quotes, I'd rather be hated for telling the truth than be loved for telling a lie. But Max Kellerman, he'd rather be loved for telling a lie than be hated for telling the truth. That's why he does what he does on ESPN whenever he's on his Max Hypocrisy show, because like I said, he encouraging the young bull Teo, who want to fight everybody. He's telling him basically, hey, listen, you need to behave like a businessman. I wish Teo told him, like, hold on, man. You stay telling me to avoid these cats, but you criticizing Floyd. I don't want to give you no space for you to criticize me in the future, so I want to fight everybody. I wish Teo would have told him something like that. Or why are you telling me to avoid these cats, encouraging me to avoid Devin Haney and Tank? Why are you telling me to do what Floyd Mayweather did? I wish he said something like that just to shut Max Hypocrisy up. But like I said before, winning and losing don't go together. Left and right don't go together. So for Max Hypocrisy Kellerman to criticize Floyd Mayweather while praising Canelo and Gennady Golovkin, claiming that they fight the best, it exposes his whole agenda. So I just wanted to point out all the hypocrisy. I mean, obviously ESPN, they erased Lomachenko law, so there's nothing they wouldn't do when it comes to ESPN. So the last topic of the day, we have Kell Brook. There's news that came out that Kell Brook is going to be fighting Terrence Crawford November 14th without Dominic Angle and Eddie Hearn on his team. Kell Brook is going along for the Terrence Crawford fight. Kell Brook gave comments on Sky and Hearn not showing Crawford, not showing up for the Crawford fight, in which he stated, hold on. excuse me. Quote, Kell Brook, he stated, and I quote, when it comes to Eddie Hearn, all he had to do was get on the phone and call Uncle Bob Arum, but he was more interested in earning Tupac. He was more interested in signing books. That's what happened with Eddie Hearn. I got him out of jail with that Golovkin fight with the pay-per-view slot. I saved the date. I saved the day again. I have always been a Sky Sport fighter, and I have been in with Porter and Errol Spence, Golovkin. I have had so many amazing nights with Sky Sports. I want to give back to the fans that subscribe to Sky Sports. My fans want to, hold on. I want to give back to the fans that subscribe to Sky Sport, my fans to see me fight against the pound-for-pound King Crawford. I think he meant to say my fans want to see me fight against the pound-for-pound King Crawford. Or maybe he meant my fans want to see the fight with me against the pound-for-pound King Crawford. That was, I think it might be a typo. But he also added, to take that title from him, Eddie is having these pay-per-views, fights with not even a title on the line. Chisora and Usyk, White and Povetkin. Those are great fights, but Brook and Crawford, come on, man. We are more in a title to have that fight. Therefore, for the fans, the fact is, it's going to be on TV. Obviously, it's going to be on ESPN, just not on Sky Sports, because Eddie Hearn, apparently, he did not pick the fight. He didn't get Sky Sports to pick the fight. And also, in the meantime, Kell Brook is really disappointed because even his trainer also stated that he's not going to train him for the Terence Crawford fight. I mean, I feel bad for Kell Brook because he stated he was ready for the fight. He'd been training ever since the pandemic. He stated he was always training for the Terence Crawford fight. He said he is not cashing out against Terence Crawford. He said he could clearly win the fight. Lopez was able to pull off the win against Lomachenko. So why wouldn't he be able to? He said that he'd been training to make the weight, and he's around his weight. He's in shape, and he's very highly disappointed of Eddie Hearn and his team letting him down, going alone against pound for pound #1 Terence Crawford. And I mean, I'm highly disappointed in Ingle too to let Crawford to let Kell Brook to go and fight Terence Crawford without him being on his side. I don't care what's the possibility of Kell Brook winning. I don't care if Ingle feel like Kell Brook can't beat Crawford. Still, you're supposed to be part of his team. You're supposed to be training him full time. That's your guy. You're supposed to be riding with him, right or wrong. If you feel like he's gonna win or not, you still gotta try to do your best in order to help him. It's one thing if Ingle had leverage and say so in which he was like, listen, Kell Brook, you ain't fighting Crawford. And he was able to pull Kell Brook away from that fight. Then I'll be like, okay, but if Kell Brook is committed into fighting Terence Crawford, how are you going to walk away? How are you going to walk away? Where's the loyalty in this? Where is the loyalty in this? Even with Eddie Hearn, I mean, like Kell Brook pointed out, this is a good fight. This is a good fight. I mean, Kell Brook is not favored to win because he's going up against pound for pound #1 Terence Crawford. However, he is definitely in the fight. He definitely have a chance because he's the bigger guy. He hit harder, and he's a good boxer. He got skills that he could rely on. He beat Porter in an easy fashion. So I just think I'm highly disappointed myself. If I would have been in Kell Brook's shoes, I would have been disappointed in my team leaving me like this, hanging with no loyalty when I was there for them from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, it's disappointing to see because pretty much Kell Brook took a gamble with Gennady Golovkin moving up 2 weight divisions. And I criticized him for that because initially I really thought that, listen, Kell Brook, he wants to weigh out of the Errol Spence fight. He want to find an excuse to why he lost to Errol Spence. So he was like, you know what? I'm gonna move up 2 weight divisions, and if I lose or win to Gennady Golovkin, then if I win, I'm gonna stay at 160. That give me a mega fight with Canelo. If I lose, I can move down to 147 And if I lose to Errol Spence right after that, I could blame the loss to Gennady Golovkin. He could blame once he fight Errol Spence, he could blame the losing to Errol Spence because of his loss to Gennady Golovkin right before that. I think that was his pretty much agenda coming, when he made that fight. That's what I initially thought. Now, he said that he did it because he wanted to save the card for Eddie Hearn because Banks walked out of the table from the Gennady Golovkin fight. I don't know which one it is, but one thing for sure, it's just not a good look on Eddie Hearn's behalf in Sky Sport and even Engel to leave Kell Brook hanging. I really didn't like that by them, but, it is what it is at the end of the day, or at least the night. It's going to be a good fight regardless. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these decafs, the dumb, casual ass fans that don't know shit about boxing. Word to Roger.
You don't know shit about boxing.
And to all you decafs, grow some cojones and call in. You guys been missing in action after I sparked one of you out. So grow the cojones and call in. I know it's always, every time you decaf see AKHi on TV is always bad news for you decafs because the truth is the kryptonite and the truth is always spoken on split decision. With that being said, 3 things that will always come out: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Therefore, stay tuned, subscribe, click on the notification bell, and shout out to all of my AKHis. And to be continued on the next episode of AKHi. AKHi TV. Peace, and we out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the wall. I shook up the wall. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.